Welcome back to another episode of Allen Police Behind the Badge. We're your hosts, Officer Sam Rippamani and Alexis Birmingham.
And today our guest is Senior Animal Services Officer Carla Butler. Thank you for joining us today.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hey, Carla. So we're going to talk about what you do for the Allen Animal Shelter, but off the top of your head, think of any fun stories that you've gone to or calls that you've had here in the city of Allen or in your career in this profession?
Oh, so many of them. We've had a lot of long-term residents. One of our longest was a dog that we chased around the city for 3 or 4 weeks, from Highway 75 all the way to Exchange over by the tennis courts at the high school, which is where she was finally caught. So that was quite a fun adventure. We spent a lot of man hours chasing her. Finally caught her, and she had some medical issues while at the shelter, and we got her through all that. And eventually, she was adopted by a wonderful family, but it took her just over a year. And she was the last dog at Clear the Shelter that year before she was adopted. So,
what was her name?
Stacy.
And y'all had one just recently that was it Nacho?
Oh, and Nacho. Yeah, we
He'd
had
been
him
there?
for.
So he was a runner.
He beat her. Yeah, he beat her record. He was there for a year and several months before we got him adopted.
I remember when you let him slip the leash
Yeah.
that one day.
Side story about Nacho was we were trying to help out. You know, we wanted to find Nacho a home. Yeah. So were you there that day?
I wasn't there, but I heard all about it.
Oh, I'm sure you did. Not one of my finer moments. So we got Nacho out, and I was holding him on the slip leash, and we were patiently waiting. They were getting one of the areas cleaned up so we could go in and let him run, take some pictures. And we had that. I think it was me. I was like, "Hey, he's kind of sitting. Let's take some pictures real quick." So I kind of transitioned and got behind him. I was like, "All right, sit down." Well, Nacho's been around the block a time or two, and he's like, "I know how to get out of this leash." Well, instead of sitting down, he backed up and ducked that head, and he was gone in an instant. I look up, and Nacho was going across Bethany, and he went into where that convenience store is over there.
Yeah.
And he's just running, and every once in a while, you can see him. So I take off running over there. Alexis does
I'm
not.
sitting on the other side of the road, and I just see Rip running this
In
way. Then
between the buildings.
he's running the opposite way. I was dying laughing, but I was like, I had to get on that side to come and help him. But it was, my gosh.
I'm back there in full
Stress.
uniform, and I'm running, and I'm yelling, Nacho, and he'll stop, and he'll look at me, and he'll take a couple steps, and then he thinks it's a game. He'll take off again. Well, then, your coworker, Tammy, comes back there, and she's got this lasso, and he comes running by, and it's like she just catches him out of midair. I'm like, really? It made me look bad. And but Nacho was a good dog. He ended well too, so I'm glad he found his forever home.
Yeah, he was a great dog.
We have a lot of fun going down to the shelter.
Yeah.
So can you tell me a little bit about what you do for the department?
So animal services, we do a little bit of everything. We all of the officers, there's about 6 of us. We run the shelter, so any of the adoptions, that surrenders, things like that. Anybody brings in stray animals, we do all the intake. We take care of all the animals, so we do all the cleaning in the morning. If anybody's on medication, we do that. We take them to the vet when they need to go to the vet. We make sure that they go for their spaying and neutering. We do all the basic medical on them as well, on intake. So we do all of that. We microchip them before they go, and the staff does that. So we're basically in charge of their care. Aside from that, we also dispatch all of the calls. So one of us will be up at the front, and we're checking messages, checking emails, taking phone calls, and dispatching officers to calls for animals at large, injured animals, what else? Like just about anything, any animals that are deceased, that are domestic, so dogs, cats, things like that. We do get some wildlife calls. So aside from all of those, we also get calls from either police or fire that whenever they need assistance for various things. If there's an animal involved in any of their calls or cases, then we're involved as well. We investigate dog bites. We investigate cruelty cases. So there's a little bit of the calls that we run. So we do kind of split ourselves up. We all try to clean in the
That's a lot.
morning and take care of all the animals, and then someone's in the shelter helping the citizens. When we're open Thursday through Tuesday. We're open every day except for Wednesday. So we help citizens with whatever if they're there just to look at animals, or if they're there for adoption, or if they're there for any compliance issue or registrations,
Yeah.
things like that.
Are citizens able to volunteer or foster any animals at the shelter?
We do have a volunteer program,
Okay.
and we recently started partnering with the 501c3 named Bo's Buddies, and you can be a foster for us through that organization,
Oh, that's
which
awesome.
is great. So, and all that information should be on our website, or you can call the shelter for that. But yes, we're always accepting adult volunteers and adult fosters. We always need the help to get the animals out.
Yeah.
We have special VIP volunteers that they are through. Some of them are COPs, some of them are CERT members, things like that. So they have some extra certifications and things like that. So they do help us with the phone calls, which we take a lot of
I imagine your phone rings. Just the times we're in there, we hear
All
it ringing
day.
nonstop.
Oh, yeah.
all day. I don't remember the exact number, but it was thousands of phone calls that we took in over the course of 1 year.
Oh my
Oh,
goodness.
wow.
Yeah.
And
So,
I think y'all even helped with the wild geese getting returned back to the park.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
A little bit of everything. What kind of animals? So obviously dogs and cats.
Uh-huh.
Are there other types of animals y'all will take in?
So we will accept any surrender from an Allen resident. So they do have to live within the city limits of Allen,
Mhm.
and we'll take a surrender. We do have a waiting list right now. We can't. Our shelter is limited on space, so we do have a waiting list, and we'll take people as we can, but we will take them. And then we will accept any stray or injured domestic animal from the city limits of Allen. You don't have to be a resident to bring them in, but they do need to be found within the city limits. And then any injured wildlife in the city limits, we will definitely respond to as well.
So I've seen, lots of dogs and cats. I think I've seen a guinea pig. In
We've
there.
had guinea pigs, we've had ferrets, we've had parakeets, we've had what else? Lots of different types of
birds too, huh?
snakes and bearded dragons, things like that. We've had chickens, we've had a lot of
Oh
stuff.
wow! So if y'all get like a bird or a bearded dragon, y'all able to still adopt those out as well?
Mhm.
Oh well, that's really
Now
cool.
there's a few caveats, like if it's a species that is not allowed within the city of Allen, we have to make sure that they go to someone that their jurisdiction will allow it.
Do you have to be an Allen resident to adopt an animal from there?
You do not. No.
Oh, okay.
Mm-mm.
So there's no restriction on
Nope.
that.
You have to be an Allen resident to surrender, but not to adopt. Anybody can come and adopt.
And how many animals can they own?
In the city, that's a great question. In the city of Allen, you are allowed to have 4 of each species.
Okay.
Adults, 4 adults. So if
That's
you
a
have
lot.
That's
if you have a
That's
mom and
rich.
dad and 5 puppies, that's fine. But once they hit adult age, those puppies, once they're like 12,
So
12
4
weeks.
dogs, 4 cats,
correct. 4 dogs, 4 cats, 4 ferrets,
4 ferrets.
4 bunnies, 4 guinea pigs.
Oh my goodness,
It's a lot.
that is a lot.
And you had to register them, or?
Cats, dogs, and ferrets are required to be registered with the city. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So you do. The state requires that dogs, cats, and ferrets are currently vaccinated against rabies.
Mhm.
So we just with that law in place, we make sure that we verify all of those cats, dogs, and ferrets rabies vaccinations, and then we register them with the city.
Oh,
And you get
okay.
a really cool tag. So we have fun tags, and on the back there's a QR code. So people can put all their information on this little profile
Yeah.
and link it to the QR code. So if they do get lost, we do regularly send animals home over the phone, because someone will say, hey, there's a dog with a city registration tag. Our number's on the back. They'll call if they don't want to scan it, because they can a lot of times just scan it and then
Mhm.
take
Yeah.
the dog home themselves. But if they want to call us instead, we can pull up the information, call the owner and say, go, your pet's over there. Go
Yeah,
get
go-
them
Oh,
reunited.
that's
Get your
super
pet.
helpful.
It is. Yeah.
Wow, that's
Is that
streamlined.
new, or you guys have had it for a while?
New-ish. It's been a handful of years since we started that.
Oh, okay.
Well, y'all have limited space, so I'm sure that
We have limited,
helps
yeah, for sure.
tremendously with that.
Our goal whenever we go and pick up an animal is to take it home as soon as possible. So we scan for a microchip, we check any tags that they have, and And then if we have the time, we will run those numbers. The shelter will run the numbers, or if we can in the truck, we'll do it. And just until we get a hold of someone, so we know where to take the animal to. If not, if all else fails, we'll take him. We'll impound the animal, but we prefer not to. It's just easier just to take them home. They don't want to be there.
Absolutely.
We don't need extra animals to take care of. So
That's really cool. So, Carla, are you from Texas?
not originally, no.
Where are you from?
I'm from California.
California. Did you work in the same profession in California?
I did not. I actually went to college and studied zookeeping and animal training and wildlife education. So
Wow.
I was a zookeeper for many years before I came to
Really?
Texas.
So, what was that? Can you talk about some of that? Or?
Sure. So I started at the Living Desert, which is it's a big zoo now. It's grown quite a bit in the Palm Springs area. And I was hired as the first relief keeper for the giraffes. It was a brand new exhibit. So they brought on extra staff to take care of the giraffe exhibit.
Wow.
So I was the relief keeper, which meant I was there on the 5-day keepers' days off. So I took care of them, and I took care of another string in the area. So I was there for several years. I kind of bounced around. I took care of the giraffes. Then I went to the show and worked at the wildlife education show for a bit. And then when the 5-day keeper for giraffes left, I took his position. I went back to work with the giraffes for another handful of years. Funny enough, they had 3. They had a breeding pair and a gelded male. And the female, she was pregnant with her first calf at the same time I was pregnant with my first child.
Oh,
Oh,
so
wow.
So yeah.
do they carry about the same amount of time?
No, they carry for longer.
Really?
Yeah.
So what's it like?
Just wild.
Like what
Which is, yeah.
being in an area with a giraffe? I mean, that makes you feel really small. I'm sure, really
Yes.
quick.
It is. And for the most part, we did protected. We were protected contact with them, which meant we didn't, go in there with them.
Oh, okay.
We did a couple of times if we felt comfortable enough, or emergency kind of situations where we had to go in there to rescue something. We would, but for the most part, we just stayed on the other side of the barriers, because even there were instances where the giraffe was, wanting we did a lot of training, so we gave them treats, like there's horse cookies.
Yeah.
That we would feed them. And if you weren't doing it enough, or if you were done and she would want more, she would kick the side of the side of the fence there.
Oh, wow.
And
Well, that would hurt
just
if it
something
was you.
as easy as that, they can really cause some damage. So we had to be careful with that.
Yeah, they're big animals for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you get attached to them though when you're with them
yes.
every day.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to leave them probably in the end.
Yeah, we were in close contact with the baby once the baby was born. We did go in and try to help the kid, because he had to learn the routine. He had to go
Mhm.
out and come back in, things like that. So we
Yeah.
would round him up and all of that good stuff.
That's really cool.
So
It was a lot of fun.
sounds like a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun.
And you came to Texas.
And then I came to Texas.
So would you go back into a zoo type position?
I didn't. We came out to Texas because my husband got a really great opportunity, and he had moved multiple times on my account for my career. So it was my turn to be supportive.
There you
So
go.
we came out here, and I tried to do the stay-at-home mom thing for a bit. I thought that would be great. And he's like, go ahead, you can, if you want to. That lasted a few weeks before he's like, you got to go get a job. it's not for me. I needed something to do.
Yeah.
So I did little things. I went to PetSmart for a bit just so I could work with animals again.
yeah.
I didn't realize that the Dallas Zoo was so far away from McKinney, which is where we had landed. So that was kind of like, well, that puts a damper in the plans.
Yeah.
And then I decided to go, and I needed more of a full-time job. So I went to work I used my education background to go work at a daycare to be a after-school care teacher. And that lasted for a couple years. And then I thought, I need something a little less stressful. And the police department sounded like a great
Oh yeah, less
Great
stressful
thing
for
to-
sure.
yes. Yeah.
And here you
I
are.
think my husband suggested, why don't you look into animal control? Like, that's an interesting idea. And I did, and here I am.
That's right. So you've been here
It's
a
been
while
great.
now.
I've been here over 8 years now.
Oh, wow.
God, goodness. I remember when you got hired. Time flies.
It does. It's been an adjustment, but it's been really great. And my zoo background really prepared me for a lot of the animals that we work with here, because I didn't just work with giraffes. I bounced around in different areas of the zoo. So I think by the time I left there, I did 2 stays at the zoo in Palm Springs, and then I did a couple of years at the Wild Animal Park, where I worked at the hospital, and we did so there was a lot of species I worked with there. But I think by the time I got back, I did rehab, I did carnivores, I did hoofstock, I did birds, I did all sorts of different things. So I was really real well-rounded by the time I came here. And I was, got thrown out to chase snakes and chase geese across the park and chase whatever. I got to net out some vultures that got stuck over at Topgolf in their big
in their
netted
net?
area.
I remember when that happened.
Yeah, there was 3 vultures that got stuck there, and that was all sorts of fun. I got to go out there and net them out and put them back out.
Yeah.
So it's fun.
I'd be
Those were the
scared
fun
one of
days.
those things would bite you.
Don't see, but again, I was just working with raptors and with all sorts of other
You
birds.
knew what you were doing.
I'm not.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
not
it's
really.
not for
I was
me.
well prepared to
I,
work with some of these
matter-
guys.
Matter of fact, I had a call one day. I was up at the outlet mall, and a lady came running into my office. This is when I was still officed at the outlets. She said, "I have a giant snake crawling into the hood of my car." I was like, well, "I don't know what you're telling me." It's like, I have a gun, I'll take care of that snake problem. No, so I go out there, and sure enough, it's between 4 and 5 feet long, big old rat snake
Mhm.
crawling up into the hood compartment area of her car. And I was like, she's like, "You got to get it out." And I was like, "Yeah, I'm not touching that." So at the time, we call the animal control out there.
Yeah.
I don't think she's here anymore, but she gets there and she's like, "Oh yeah, that's a rat snake," and she just immediately starts pulling on the snake.
Yeah.
And I'm like, "What are you gonna do when the head comes out? Because you're pulling on the tail right now. That head's gonna come out eventually." No fear. Just reached in there, grabbed this big old snake, put it in the truck, and it was gone. I was like, "That's not for me. Nope." I don't do with snakes.
What's new to your unit?
We just got turf installed at the in the different yards that we have at the shelter, so that's pretty new. That's a huge upgrade to the shelter, and the dogs are enjoying it. We're enjoying it. It's really nice. No more muddy, because we had a lot of rain this
Yeah.
past month, and so no huge mud storms.
Sure, that is nice.
Yeah.
We went over there and looked at it. When we come by, we try to have an officer take pictures with a pet each week, and
Mhm.
it is
It's very nice, and I think
So
the
much.
officers appreciate it because they don't get muddy.
Yes.
Sometimes the dogs like to play and jump around, and they would leave a little muddy.
Mm-hmm.
So,
like,
but it's beautiful. I think.
last week they had the bulldog out there. I don't think y'all have him anymore, right?
I think he was adopted.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Figgy, right?
But
Yes.
you
yeah,
talk
Figgy.
about a bull in a china cabinet.
Oh.
If it would have been muddy, we would have all been covered in mud that day, because to the point where he even dumped the water bowl over because he was just playing with everything.
yeah.
He was a
It
mess.
is. I mean, they have fun in it. You don't mind being messy, but it's hard to keep the shelter clean, and it's hard to keep
Mhm.
I
the
have-
citizens clean and everybody else presentable.
Well, that place
Right.
has always got people
So,
coming in and out. So
We do. We have a lot of traffic.
I like to see more leaving than coming, though.
We would as well, yes, for
Absolutely.
sure.
Yeah, you guys have a lot of beautiful dogs.
We
in
do.
there.
We have some
And
really great
cats.
dogs too. But I don't know, it's just adoptions are slow, and it's not just us. It's kind of countrywide right
Mhm.
now. Adoptions are just slow.
So for a website, where would you go find all your current listings of?
So for adoptable animals, it's going to be on Pet Finder. If you go to the City of Allen Pet Finder,
Okay.
Mhm.
you can find it there, and all of the links are on our city webpage as well.
It's updated pretty regularly.
We update it as often as we can.
Yeah, I'm
so
sure y'all are busy
we try to
too.
get to it every morning, and then as animals are adopted. But there is, that off chance that we're busy with stuff and we haven't gotten a chance to update it. And so if somebody calls, it's great to call ahead if you're looking for a specific dog. Like, hey, is so and so still available?
Yes.
We can let you know yes or no.
And if citizens would like to donate, or or is there anything that you guys need at the animal shelter? Or look for?
Absolutely, yes. So again, on our website, you'll see our wish list. There is just a general wish list of things that we can accept all the time, and then we have an Amazon wish list that we add to occasionally the things that we specifically need. But for anything else, just call the shelter, and we'll let you know what we need right at that moment, as we'll get influxes of things. So I'm like, we need blankets, and then we'll get 500 blankets, which is awesome. But then we're like, okay, we're good on blankets. We need food.
Yeah. So for the people listening, if you want to find out more information about donations to the animal shelter, you can go to the allenpolice.org website and go to animal services, and it's all listed on there.
Yep. That's where everything is. You can apply to be a volunteer. You can check our donation. We have a donor box as well, so you can donate directly on that website. Nice. You can take a look at the stray animals we have and a link to our adoptable animals. So it's all on the website.
So Carla, there's a story that I've heard. Are you able to talk about the giraffes a little bit more?
About the giraffes?
Well, I heard there's a story about maybe one escaping or something.
Yes.
Getting out.
So we did, there was a day that I think we might have been just after lunch, and we got a call over the radio that there was a code red over in the African section. And the keeper was just very distraught about the code red animal. Like, this is not a drill, and let's go. So he didn't even say what animal was out. So we all grabbed whatever we had available and jumped on our golf carts, which usually that meant rakes and shovels and things like that, and headed out to the location he said. When we got there, we realized it was one of the giraffes that there was a gate that they usually come through and it should be closed, and when he came through it was actually open, so the giraffe stepped out and then couldn't quite figure out how to get back where he needed to be. So luckily it was down on a berm, so he was not likely to come uphill. They don't climb. They don't do a whole lot of that very well. So all the keeper staff showed up, and we kind of formed a barrier, and we were trying to keep him in that area until we can figure out what we were going to do. We were concerned about him getting up, and if he did make it into public areas, which again it would be unlikely. But because it was called a code red, our weapons team came out, and at the time it was made up of our construction crew, some of the garden guys, some of the maintenance guys. So they came out, and they set up behind all of us with their rifles and all the things, just in case, because it is a dangerous animal. If he did get in front where the public was, he could potentially injure or kill somebody if he started stampeding through and just freaked out. Not that they're aggressive animals, but they are flighty animals, and a flighty animal can still be very dangerous. So they did that, which I think made the rest of us really nervous since we were in front of them. And at the time, I realized what it was that happened with the gate. So I went in through, or talked to my supervisor and was like, hey, can we just try to pull that gate open the other way? Which I did. I snuck in through the barn and pulled the gate forward. And that gave him enough of a visual opening for him to step back into the area and shut it. Go. Yeah. So on the heels of that, we kind of talked about the fact that we should have some people with animal experience on the weapons team. And that kind of prompted me to join the weapons team. So both me and my supervisor joined. I was always really terrified of weapons. Just
maybe
really
not the gardener on the weapons team.
Yeah, maybe not the gardener on the weapons team. And I mean, they were all that you had to qualify. You had to go through, quite some rigorous training, and nothing against them, but they handled the weapons great, but they didn't know how to read the animal at the time. Right. So we were worried, if they got a little excited. We knew that there wasn't anything to worry about in that particular moment, but they didn't necessarily know that. So we had other instances with animals that we had to have their help with stuff, and they were anytime somebody got squirrely, they were the first ones out of the pen, and we were left holding.
No tigers got loose or anything like that?
No, we didn't have, not at ours here, no.
That's a good thing.
But anyway, that was the giraffe story.
Were there any other animals that would get out, like, or commonly known to get out? I
Scared
know there's some
tortoise.
smart animals at the zoo.
Yes. I'm trying to think. What else did we have get out? We had a tortoise take off on a golf cart once. The keeper was So the
tortoise.
keeper was taking the tortoises to the hospital for their annual exams, because everybody gets an exam once a year. So she had loaded up these pretty large sulcata tortoises, and she had put one on the floor of the golf cart while she went and shut the gate.
Oh, no.
And I guess it stepped on the gas and like just rammed through the gate and about ran her over. So we that was
pretty
fun.
That's
Good
pretty
runaway
funny.
tortoise.
Oh my
But we had,
gosh.
I mean, there's when you're working with animals, there's always fun stories.
Adventure every day, I'm sure.
It is. That's what I love about it. I was never know what I'm walking into at work.
If there's one thing you could tell the community, what would it be?
There's a lot of things I would tell the community, but as far as the safety of your own pets, make sure that you have everybody, all your cats, dogs, and ferrets vaccinated against rabies. We do have wild animals that get tested positive for rabies every year. So I know it's something that we're like, oh yeah, everyone has rabies vaccines, it's fine. But it does come up. We do see positive animals. It hasn't come up in our domestic population, but just make sure you get your animals vaccinated and registered with the city and microchipped for sure. And spayed and neutered. That would cover all the bases.
And as far as surrendering a pet, don't just show up and drop them off, correct?
Please don't show up and drop them off. So it is jurisdictional. I know we would love to help, not just our community, but anybody that needs to surrender pets.
Mhm.
But it is jurisdictional. We can only accept animals from City of Allen residents. And then there is a way to do it. We need to make sure that we have those kennels set up for animals that are truly stray or truly injured, truly need our help. So if you can, hang on to your pet a little longer, try to rehome them yourself. But if you have to surrender it to us, just make sure you call and make an appointment. And then we'll get you in as soon as we can.
Is there resources that you guys provide? Like, say someone is having hard times and they can't feed, their animal, or they're needing a little bit of help. And I know that you guys want to keep from them surrendering
Yes.
animals at times.
Absolutely.
Is there ways that you guys can also help, or I'm not sure?
If depending on your situation, definitely reach out to the shelter. We can always find resources or find a way to help. But the Allen ACO is there, and a lot of times we refer people there.
Okay.
There are pet food pantries. There's a lot of just any food pantries in the area. A lot of times they have a section for pet food. We do donate a lot of food to the ACO and to some of the Meals on Wheels kind of programs that help with that. So get in touch with those places, and if you can't, just call us directly if you need some help. We do ask those questions when people surrender. Why do you need to surrender? If it's a matter of it's they needing some resources, they just go through a hard time, we have Help Citizens out with stuff like that too, so they can keep their pets. We do what we can, and if anybody has any other ideas or knows of organizations that help with things like that, we would love to know about it too, so we can provide those resources to our citizens.
Is that also for vaccines as well?
Yes.
Okay.
There's, the low-cost vaccine clinic that's most popular out here is TCAP, and they're located in several cities in the area, but there are also mobile clinics that pop up here and there.
Okay.
So if we know about them, or if somebody knows about them, let us know, and we can add that as well as a
Awesome.
resource.
Well, Carla, we really appreciate you coming and talking to us
No
today.
problem.
Yes,
I
thank
have
you
so much
much.
respect for what y'all do. It's nonstop over there. So
It is. We stay busy, so if we can't always get to something right away, it's because we're running in 500
y'all
different
aren't
directions.
sitting at a desk very much, I wouldn't think.
No.
So thank you
Only
so
when we're on the
much.
phone.
Thank you for coming out today, taking the time. If you'd like to learn more about animal services or the Allen Police Department, go to allenpolice.org, and all that information is on our website. You can also stay up to date with our upcoming events that we have.
And make sure to like and subscribe. And if you have any questions, leave them down in the comments below.
We'll see you next time.
Bye.